Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. This is episode 89. I hope everyone is having a great day, great night, wherever you are around the world. Tonight's guest on the Inquisitive Mamba podcast is Josh Hammond. Josh Hammond is a XFL DC defender football player. He's a former Florida Gators football player. He's a wide receiver. If you don't know who he is, well, we're going to introduce you to him. So first of all, Josh, how's it going? Tell everyone who you are and take it from there.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name's Josh Hammond, professional football player. Went to the University of Florida, spent some time in the NFL with the Jaguars, Philadelphia Eagles, New England Patriots, and Denver Broncos most recently. So got kind of a good pro experience. I feel like I've been in pro now going on 5 years. So yeah, it's pretty much kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, kind of talk about your career. I kind of want to start with the Florida Gators experience, career for you, college. You were there from 2016 to 2019. You guys had some ups and downs, highs and lows. So kind of talk about the time at the University of Florida.
Yeah, so Florida was, for probably the best years of my football career, I would say. It started off really good. My freshman year, 2016, Jim McElwain. We were able to clinch SEC East, playing the SEC Championship, lose to Alabama, but still, ended up having a 10-win season. We had 9, but we lost a game against a team we probably would have beat. So 10-win season, and then fast forward 2017, we have the, big scandal with a bunch of players getting suspended in training camp. We lose a bunch of guys, and, the season really didn't go the way we wanted to. I think we had a stretch of maybe like 3 or 4 games where we lost all those games by like a point or two. So like we were, right there from being, easily like 6-1, 5-2. But we were 2-5, and we played Georgia, and we had a really bad game that week, and our coach ultimately got fired right after. And that was a big like up and down moment, I guess, for a lot of players on the team, just because the future is kind of unpredictable. You don't know who's coming in. He's going to bring in his guys. And you just never know where you'll really stand moving forward. And when Mullen first came in, I remember the first thing he said was like, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. And if you're not willing to put the work in to, get this program back to where it should be, this isn't the school for you. And I think a lot of guys bought into that. And, we made a complete 180 the next year, going on to, be 10-3, win the Peach Bowl, and then the next year being 11-2. Orange Bowl champions, and then that's the year I left. But even the following year, they went to, being SEC East champs, being back into the SEC championship game, and that's all you could hope for. So, a lot of respect to Mullen and everything that he's done for the university. I think he definitely kind of got that ball on the right track. At least
I really appreciate you saying that, but I kind of want to go back to 2016 when you said Jim McElwain was fired. So what was going through your mind when you heard the news, because I guess now with this day and age in social media, some players even find out that the coach has been fired or they've relieved him of his duties on social media. So how did you find out?
Yeah, I found out on social media too.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was we played on Saturday. We were back. We had mandatory check-in treatment by 2 p.m. on Sunday. And by 2 p.m., it was all over Twitter that he had been let go. We normally don't have any meetings or anything on Sunday. That's kind of like our day off to rest and recover type of deal. So it was all over social media, and we were all kind of confused. And then we get a text from our athletic director, Scott Strickland at the time, saying that we were going to have a team meeting at 6 p.m. later that evening. And, he came in and kind of just let us know that, they were going a different direction. Coach Randy Shannon was going to be our interim head coach, and that he was going to do the best he can to get the right guy for this program moving forward.
And then when they brought in Dan Mullen, you were still there. So, how did you react to that? What were your thoughts? Because, Dan Mullen was there for the Gators, championship in 2006. He was offensive coordinator. Then he brought his success and, talent and his X's and O's to Mississippi State. He coached Dak Prescott. We know what Dan Mullen is capable of. When he got to the Florida Gators, what was going through your mind?
Well, it was a little different for me. I have an older brother that played at the University of Florida from 2008 to 2012. So that Mullen relationship, my brother played for Mullen and also played for Coach G. So they also recruited Frankie. So I remember them actually coming into the house to recruit my brother when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old. And they also remembered me. So the first thing when we got there, that was kind of one thing I think I felt comfortable with, just knowing that, my family knew who they were. They weren't people that kind of were foreign to us. We kind of knew their beliefs already. I knew what I was getting myself into. And if something ever were to happen where I didn't feel comfortable, I felt confident and comfortable enough to go to him and ask and have those tough conversations that, a lot of kids probably don't feel comfortable asking just because it's kind of foreign to, be able to go up to these coaches that seem, quote unquote superior.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that way. I had questions with my brother, obviously, kind of asking, what's it going to be like? Because he's going to probably bring the same system that Urban had, which he 100% did. And he kind of prepped me for it. So I think I was well prepared, and I kind of took it and ran with it.
So, you don't have to answer this question,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't feel comfortable, but just, kind of going off of Dan Mullen, and they went into a different direction, hiring Billy Napier. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
the Gators were a little too quick to judge on Mullen to just let him go? Or do you think he ran his course from all the, smoke and saying he can't recruit, he's not that great of a recruiter? But, as a former
Yeah.
player in college, and now you're, a professional player, do you buy into all the hype or what people say, oh, some coaches can't recruit and some coaches can? Like, do you buy into that?
Well, as far as recruiting goes, I don't know. I didn't get recruited I did get recruited by Mullen, but he was at
Right.
Mississippi State at the time. And
Yeah.
I don't think that was a school that was probably high on my list.
Mhm.
So I don't really know how much recruiting he did.
Yeah.
Because, as a player, like, I don't see that side, like,
Yeah.
he does that on his free time and he has his staff together for that. I feel like the guys that we were bringing in were good players.
Yeah.
So, from a player's perspective, like, I feel like if anything, the players need to be able to stay to get developed
Mhm.
sometimes. And I think maybe the portal might have ruined that a little bit
Yeah.
because now you get guys that come in as a freshman, they don't play, they're unhappy. The first thing they want to do is transfer, but you might just not be ready to play, and you might
Yeah.
just need to sit behind that guy and wait your turn. Good example I'll give you is Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts came in, he played as a freshman, but he played behind Van. And he spent that whole year kind of learning how to play as a wideout, polishing up his game. The next year, his sophomore year, we move him back to tight end. He's a breakout year, All-American tight end, first-round draft pick, the next year. So
Yeah.
sometimes it just takes that development that you need to kind of grow into the player that you want to be. And I feel like maybe the portal kind of ruined that. That's kind of my take on it. As far as the whole recruiting goes, I don't really know how much, I guess, it plays in the part if you are really good at developing kids.
Yeah. Now that's a good way to answer it. But my next question for you, since we're kind of talking about the transfer portal, are you against the whole transfer portal and with the NIL now? Because I kind of want to hear your take on that. Because
Yeah.
now with college football, you're seeing guys play for one season with a team, and then the next season they go to another team. I mean, you just had Dylan Gabriel just play for
Yep.
Oklahoma this past season, and now he's with um, Dan Lanning in
Well,
Oregon,
yeah.
just like that, like just
hmm
lickety split. So, what are your thoughts about the whole NIL stuff?
I think the NIL stuff is good. I think it needs to get regulated, though, at some point, kind of how the NFL is, where there's a cap
Yeah.
and, every team can give certain players X amount of dollars and kind of put it like that. And I also think that there needs to be a way to kind of, I guess, how the NFL, like, it doesn't have guaranteed money. I feel
Yeah.
like if it's not guaranteed money, then the kids will feel more obligated to kind of work and put the time in before they just up and leave and like, I'm going to try a new school. Um, yeah, I'm not really a fan of the portal, honestly. I think it promotes like a lack of competition. And football is a game of competing. You want to be able to beat the guy out and earn your spot. I think now with the portal, you kind of get rid of that because the moment, you get beat out, it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm gone. I'm going to just go somewhere else where I'm going to be the
Yeah.
guy. And I think that ultimately, like, you don't get developed properly. And
Yeah.
then you might have really good stats and really good seasons and get to the NFL and it catches up to you. And then now you're labeled a bust and all these other things because you never
Right.
got developed properly to be that guy that everybody thought that you really were.
So,
Right.
or
Yeah.
it's here, it's right in front of us. I mean, now the debate is where Cam Ward is going to go. He just
Right.
transferred from Washington State. Is he going to go to Miami, Florida State,
Mhm.
Ohio State? Last week he was linked to Ohio State, and now he's potentially linked to Miami and FSU, and they're saying he might not leave the state of Florida, all because of money. When was the
Yep.
last time you think you would hear that? Right?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Some of these kids are making more than like
Yeah.
rookies in the NFL. So like,
Yep.
it's a crazy landscape. I'm happy that it happened. I think it
Yeah.
should have been a thing. I just think it has to get regulated at some point,
Yeah.
and be able to kind of put a max on what you can give a kid.
My next point I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the whole Caleb Williams situation with him? Should he stay at USC? Should he go to the NFL? Because I've, expressed my opinion and
Hmm.
take on the internet, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I think Caleb should go. He's
Yeah.
projected the first player to get drafted. I think this should be a no-brainer. I think you put a lot at risk coming back, even though he'll probably make, a big chunk of money staying, coming back for another year at USC. If it isn't really a desire, like if his desire is to kind of play football, then he should go play football at a professional level.
Yeah.
And from there, kind of grow his game, get himself in a position to take care of his family long term. Because God forbid he comes back next year, he has a bad injury, and next thing you know, he doesn't get drafted. He's going to wish he would have left this year. So I think when you're in a position to kind of go, that's the time for you to go.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that too. It's like go with the NFL while you can because I don't think
Yep.
his draft stock is going to get any higher. You could
Correct.
potentially get hurt, just like you said. And why go
Yep.
put yourself in a situation going to the Big Ten next year with Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, Oregon,
Yep.
whereas you just were in the Pac-12, and you guys
Hmm.
didn't have a great season. You're telling me next year you guys are going to be even better and you're going to be put in
Yeah.
a better conference? I think
Right.
he should just go. I think it makes the
Yeah.
most sense.
No, I agree as well.
Yeah, so the whole college football landscape is just completely changed. But last point about college here, I wanted to
Hmm.
ask you, what is it going to take for the Florida Gators to get back to the Florida Gators football standard of winning national championships, being the team? I mean, I know in 2020 we had a great year. That was
Hmm.
our last good year. We
Yeah.
just finished a 5-7. The Gators just finished. I can't say we.
Yeah.
The Gators
Yeah.
finished a 5-7 season. They just missed out on a bowl game. So, what do you think it's going to take for the Florida Gators to get back to their standard?
I don't know really. I think it's going to be really hard, and I think it's hard now just because there's so much money involved.
Yeah,
So all these schools that have, big boosters and a lot of big donors like Texas A&M, Alabama, I think until they regulate it, it's going to be hard to compete with those schools because Florida might just not have enough money to compete
really?
with those schools.
Wow.
I don't know if they do.
Yeah.
Because those schools are like big time
Yeah.
when it comes to like stuff like that. So um, I think the money is probably like the biggest issue. I think recruiting in the state is our biggest advantage. I think a lot of talent comes from Florida. I think
Yeah.
if we can just try and get a bunch of guys to stay in the state and focus more on that rather than let's go get this kid from Cali or let's go get this kid from Ohio. I think a 3-star kid out of Florida is probably just as good as a 4 or 5-star kid from California. And that's just me going off experience because we've had kids come from California that didn't pan out. And,
Yeah.
I've seen it with my own eyes where we have guys that are 2, 3 stars that come in and it's better than every other player that was in that class. So I think there's a lot of talent in South Florida. Um, Not even South Florida, all of Florida to begin with. And I think if we could just control the state a lot better in recruiting, I think it'd be better for us long term as far as, putting out a better product throughout the season.
So next year we're going to get the Gators are going to get Graham Mertz back, and then DJ
Yep.
Lagway. He's
Mhm.
committed. He's going to be officially committing within the next
Mhm.
week or so because
Yep.
National Signing Day. So what have you seen about DJ Lagway, about him, just because he's been a phenom in high school? Like, what do you think about the whole DJ Lagway thing to Florida?
Yeah, I like DJ. I think he's going to come in and be a great tool for the future. I
Yeah,
think personally, though, based on the schedule we have next year, I
yeah,
don't see how DJ will be the starting quarterback week 1. I
yeah,
think Graham Mertz played exceptionally well this year. I think he deserves every right to hold the QB1 spot until proven otherwise. Um, and, coming out to start the season with Miami, and then, we played Samford, I think, and then come back with A&M, I believe,
yeah. It's a
for
very
another.
tough schedule.
Yeah, so like those are games that we're gonna have to be on, and I think we'd be better off kind of having a more experienced guy that's been in these situations, played in these tough games, to put ourselves in the best position to get back on that track that we want. I think it allows DJ to learn a lot next year from Mertz and be able to put himself in a position for 2025
Yeah,
to kind of be that guy that we kind of stick and roll with. And I'm sure they'll have like packages and stuff for him for him to, get his plays and get his feet wet and kind of like how they did Tebow back in 2006 with Chris Lee.
yeah. Did you watch that Gators Swamp Kings documentary?
I did, yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. I didn't know how it was going to be,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was good.
I didn't see a whole lot of Percy Harvin though.
That was true.
I mean, I'm sure there's some rights and all that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
still, man, Percy was just electric back in the day.
100%.
Those jet
I'm sure
sweeps.
I'm sure they like approached him to try to get him
Yeah.
on the show, and he probably was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, I can totally see that. But for this upcoming season for the Gators in the 2024, they've got LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State, LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, A&M, Miami, and Stanford. Yeah, it's not going to be easy by any
Yeah,
stretch.
100%. So I think having an experienced guy will help us. Graham Mertz played exceptionally well this year,
Yeah,
and
he
I
did.
think he'll put us in a good position to win a lot of those battles next year.
And the thing too is a lot of people wrote him off because he was the transfer from Wisconsin. What
Mm-hmm.
was he going to bring to the table? He didn't look too bad against Utah, but still kind of was shaky. But I mean, he was super efficient, throughout the season. His completion percentage was, I think it was first in the SEC, if not second. He was right hand with Carson Beck. We're like back and forth. So I mean, yeah, I think you run it back with Mertz and see. But it's tough to see these kids transfer and just kind of leave when they don't buy in. But it kind of goes back to the NIL thing. I can go somewhere else. You just lost Princely. He's, you just lost ETN. Yeah, so those are two guys right there. But I mean, that's the way it is. But there's two sides of the coin, right? There's always two sides of the story. If you lose guys, you got to get guys back.
Right.
If you miss the shot, you got to grab the rebound.
Yep. So no, I agree. So I mean, the portal is going to have to be. It's like NFL free agency. You're going to have to get all the guys that you can when you can. I think Florida State did an amazing job in the portal this past year. They went and got a bunch of guys in the portal and saw how successful they were, getting Keon Coleman out of Michigan State and a bunch of key other guys that helped them kind of become who they were. And even we did. We got some, like we ended up with Ricky Pearsall at the portal. We got a couple guys out of the portal as well. So I think as long as we continue to use the portal to benefit us, we'll be able to put ourselves in position now.
And we've got some good young guys too. Castell is pretty good. I like him. Trey Wilson, of course. He kind of he gives me that Percy Harvin vibe. Just that flashback of feel how they can use him in open space. Get him the ball in open space. I was watching a highlight tape of him and just watching him in open space. I mean, he can move, and he's only going to get better. So 100%. That's the thing too. And it also takes time too. Everybody just wants overnight success. It's going to take time. I know everyone just wants this instant gratification, but it's going to take time. It's one of those things. And some people say, well, it shouldn't have to take any time. You're a huge program. You've won national championships, but you had to hit the reset button. So,
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's going to be a time for every program. Like, there's going to be a time where Bama's going to be at the bottom at some point. Georgia's going to be at the bottom at some point. Like, everybody's going to have their moments where they're at the top and they hold it for X amount of time and then they're going to drop. It happens with every university at some point in time. It's just, we'll get there. We just got to keep working our way up.
just stay the course. Keep, stay positive. I mean, it's nice to get, DJ Lagway. I think that's going to be a big plus right there. I mean, we've seen, but not every high school guy translate to college, but I think he's going to be good. I think it's going to, I think it'll be all right. But how about this one? College football playoffs here, because we just talked about Florida State. What were your thoughts when you heard Florida State did not make the college football playoff? I know you're a Gator. I know, but no bias, just raw player perspective. What were your thoughts?
I think it's screwed up. I think it's hard to tell a group of kids in a Power 5 conference that went undefeated that they're not going to be able to compete for a national championship. Because if there was no college football playoffs and this was, BCS national champions, they would have been number one. They would have stayed number one because they never had a loss. Or they would have been number two. And it would have been undeniable, whether they had their quarterback or not, they would have stayed where they were. But now this whole committee thing, they try to get the best game, the best 4 teams. And I get that, they probably wouldn't be favored against any of the 4 teams in there. But you still owe them that shot. Because who's to say that they won't go up there and beat Michigan? Because I think they probably match up really well against Michigan. And they could probably pull it off because Michigan didn't look too good in their Big Ten championship. So why didn't that go into account for them? And they had their starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. But it's cool for Michigan when they don't play well and they don't look to part. But because Florida State doesn't have their quarterback and they're missing a bunch of people on, other sides of the ball, they get, kind of booted out. So I don't think it's fair. I think it's kind of screwed up. I was hoping that they got in just so that because then they got in and everybody was kind of like, well, they're number 4. They shouldn't have been in. I also think that they would have had a bigger chip on their shoulder and been a lot more competitive than people thought they were.
Yeah, and the thing about Florida State too is they have a good defense. I mean, Jared Verse is really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got pieces there as well. So it
Mm-hmm.
was very tough to see them. And I have a lot of friends that are Florida State fans and actually went to Florida State, and it was tough to see that. But I told them, they didn't want to believe me. I said, as soon as Alabama beat Georgia,
Yeah.
there was no way they were leaving them out. I was like, they beat the number 1 team in the country. You played in the SEC. SEC holds so much weight. They just weren't going to do it. You beat the number 1 team in the country, and that's exactly what they were going to look at. And they said they didn't even look at, oh well, they beat Auburn barely a week before. They barely beat USF. They were like, nope, didn't matter. You beat Georgia, you're getting in. So, what are your playoff predictions? We got Alabama and Michigan. We got Texas and Washington. What are your predictions?
I think Bama wins. I think Texas probably wins, and I think Bama wins the whole thing. Honestly,
in
Bama
a year
just has a record of like every time they have a loss in the regular season, they win the whole thing. And every time they're undefeated during the regular season, they lose in the playoffs. I think it's been like that for maybe like 10 years now.
It's one of those things, Josh, where you give Nick Saban all this time to prepare. He's going to figure it out, and that's a lot of time for him to prepare. And the thing is too, when you watch the Georgia and Alabama game, did you watch that? When you watched it, you look at both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively for Alabama. I mean, they dominated the line of scrimmage from that game.
100%.
And they have so many blue chip players looking at it. So
they're hot right now. They're rolling, which is they got all the momentum swinging their way. They just beat the number 1 team in the country. I think they're going to go in there with a lot of confidence, a lot of swag, and expect to win that game and probably win it big, honestly.
And the thing is, too, is they're not even the favorite. Michigan's the favorite, which is understandably, is understandable. But when you just sit there and look at it like Alabama as an underdog.
Yeah.
And
you give them something to fight over.
Michigan did not want that. I mean, they were thinking they were going to get not them.
Yeah.
It was funny. The reaction when I saw it, when they showed it, I was like, oh, man.
I saw that, too. It was kind of like,
So you got Alabama winning it all then?
I got Alabama winning it all. Yeah. I know for a fact that, like, Michigan's probably a little spooked out to play them.
Yeah, Jalen Munroe has been great as of late.
Yeah.
I mean, he really turned the corner. I mean, wow, from the beginning of the season to most people didn't even. I mean, like, it was kind of funny. Everyone wanted to write Alabama off when they lost one game. I was like, let's pump the brakes. This is still Alabama. Like, they're not going anywhere. They still have all the pieces in place.
Yep.
This wasn't even supposed to be their year, Josh. It was supposed to be next year. And now,
I know.
I mean, just when you think the Lions are done.
Yeah, they're never done.
Man, it's yeah. But how about this one though? A little Heisman talk. What did you think of Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman? Did you think he deserved it?
100%. I think he put up the stats to be an All-American running back, and he put up the stats to be an All-American quarterback.
Yeah,
you're the best player in the country. You're doing that.
What was going through your mind when he tore up the Gators defense on that
I was
Saturday night? Man.
It's actually crazy. I actually wasn't even watching the game, but my roommate that I was roommates with in college, David Reese, actually called me and was like, bro, are you watching the game? I'm like, nah. He's like, bro, Jaden Daniels has like 500 yards. So I'm like, no way.
I think that was his Heisman moment.
Yards and 5 touchdowns. I'm like, that's insane. But
that was his Heisman moment.
100%. And then he came back again and did it the next week. So it was like hard to and everybody could sit here and say like, oh, well, he was padding stats or whatever. But like, you don't put up those numbers. Like even people in the FCS don't put up those numbers. So like, you can't even say that.
No, that's the thing too. It was between him, Nix, and Penix, and then Harrison was fourth there. And I was trying to tell people, I was like, Marvin Harrison has no business winning this Heisman. I said, Devontae Smith won it in 2020. I said, look at numbers between Devontae Smith and Marvin Harrison. I said, Malik Neighbors was very similar, identical stats to Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison is a great player, but he had no business winning the Heisman.
No, I agree.
So Jaden Daniels deserved the Heisman 100%. That case was made weeks ago when they beat Florida like that. When he put on a national stage, I was like, "There's no way he's losing this Heisman." Yeah,
and then Penix struggled in some games too that I think he probably should have played better in, like the Wazoo game. He struggled a bit, and I think stuff like that might have hurt him, might not. I think Jaden Daniels did too much to not win it.
Last part about college football. What do you think about the whole college football realignment?
With the 12 playoffs.
Well, 12 playoffs, but also the teams leaving their conferences and going to other conferences. Like,
Got it. I
yeah,
think it'll make things a lot more interesting as far as, conference play go. But then it's not going to matter because the playoffs are now 12 teams. So,
yeah,
like, who cares that Bama beat Georgia? Georgia still be in the playoffs. Bama still be in the playoffs. Missouri's in the playoffs. Ole Miss is in the playoffs. Like, and any of those teams could, just come out on top. And it's like, well, who cares about the SEC championship? We want the big one. We just got to make sure we're in the top 12.
yeah,
So I think it kind of took away from like your conference games a little bit because they expanded the playoffs, and now it's not really going to matter because you could not win your champion. You could lose 2 games in your conference, still make top 12 and win the national championship,
yeah.
which has never been a thing before.
No.
And kids, players, and fans are gonna just lose sight of, SEC championship, Big Ten championship. Like when I was playing, everything we fought for was make it to Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's all we wanted for. If we made it to Atlanta, we gave ourselves a shot at playing for the next big one. But we had to make it to Atlanta first. If we didn't make it to Atlanta, it was no chance. But now it's like, well, if we, just stay in the hunt a little bit, we can still get the big one. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to screw up the conference kind of vibes. But
So, what was your favorite Florida Gators memory, football memory for you?
2018 Hail Mary Tyree Cleveland, and he called it.
Oh, yeah.
He called it maybe like 10 minutes before he caught it. He was sitting on the cooler, staring at the ground, and I walked by him and asked if he was okay. And he was like, "I'm gonna go win the game." And like obviously, like people say that, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, like go do your thing, bro. Like go win the game." And I kind of just left it alone. And then 10 minutes later, we weren't even supposed to even throw that. We were trying to throw it in, get down, and let Pinero kick a 60-yard field goal because he used to post videos doing it all the time. So we're like, let's put it to the test. But yeah, Felipe rolled out and just let it fly. It ended up working out. So, but it was just crazy for him to call it and then actually happen. Swamp goes crazy to be a part of something like special like that. It was definitely a special moment.
What was your most embarrassing Gators memory?
Ooh, okay. Most embarrassing Gators memory. We played Georgia in 2017 and we lost maybe, I think it was like 44-14. It was really bad. And it was like 21-zip within like the first maybe 7 minutes of the game. And I wasn't even playing, but I was there because I had hurt my back. That's the only game I've ever missed. And it was really bad. But that was probably the most embarrassing thing to, I guess, kind of be a part of as a Florida Gator. Yeah, that one hurt. And then our coach got fired right after. So it hurt even a little more. Yeah,
that
it
was
was
a
just
Georgia
a bad
game.
weekend.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it was a bad weekend.
Who was the funniest teammate you had at UF?
Funniest teammate. That's a good one. Felipe Franks is probably up there for sure. Tyree's up there. Damian Pierce was really fun.
Yeah, now he's on the Texans. Yeah.
Yeah, Damian was a funny guy. Let me think who else. Try and give you one more. Philly. He's somebody on defense I can think of. Quincy Linton.
Oh, I don't know if I know that name.
Safety. He was a safety.
Okay.
He played quite a bit for us. He more on teams and
okay.
He got kind of reps where he got in. He ended up transferring to Youngstown State, but
Okay.
he was also really funny too.
Do you remember Umstead Sanders?
I do remember Umstead.
I lived with him in Gainesville.
Got it.
Yeah, we randomly roomed together. That was my roommate.
Yeah, his brother Trey went to Alabama on us. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he transferred to TCU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I used to pick Umstead's brain about football stuff all the time. He told me about Felipe Franks and all this crazy stuff, and like just on the field.
Deontay Lewis was also. Deontay Lewis is probably number one.
He was a tight end.
Yeah, he's probably number one funniest.
Really?
Yeah, he's a class clown for sure.
Amari Burney lived in that apartment too before I moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Kroll, do you remember him?
Yep.
He's on the Broncos now.
Yep.
Yeah, he just got elevated from the practice squad.
Yeah, good for him.
It's kind of cool.
He was with the Saints.
Yeah, he was.
And then now he's in Denver. Which makes sense because I don't know if Sean Payton was there when he was there, but if he was, then it makes sense why he's in Denver.
Okay. Well, I know that he also he left Florida and then he transferred to Pittsburgh, right?
Yep, he left.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
went to
what it
Pitt,
was. Yeah. Yeah,
which
man,
made
there's
sense though. It made
yeah.
sense for him to leave
Mhm.
because the tight end room was really crowded. Kyle
Yeah.
Pitts was who Kyle Pitts was. Kyle Pitts was going to play 50 snaps a game and get at least
Yeah.
10 to 15 targets. And like that, like I feel like a transfer like that has to happen. You want to give
Yeah.
yourself a shot. You waited it out. You did your development. It's your turn, but there's another guy, and it's just not going to work. So I feel like
That's the
that
thing
type of
too.
transfer works.
It just happened with Malik Murphy from Texas. He just entered the
Mhm.
transfer portal, and then Florida just had Max Brown. He just committed to
Yep.
Charlotte. So it's one of those
Mhm.
things. It's like as soon as you see it, you're like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's not enough room here. There's not
Yep.
enough room in this wagon. Sorry,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but that's how it is now. It's like it's
Yeah.
cut and dry in college football,
Yeah. 100%. So.
especially with this transfer portal.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about your pro career and
Mhm.
kind of how everything goes with that and what it's like playing in the XFL.
Yeah. Okay. Pro career started off in Jacksonville and drafted free agent. Doug Marrone was head coach. We go through that first year. I got cut. Was on practice squad the entire year. Season was over. We were 3-13, I believe. Coach gets fired. No, were we 3? We might have been 1-16 actually that year. Coach got fired. GM gets fired. We get a whole new staff. We get Urban Meyer,
Yeah.
Trent Baalke as the general manager. So again, I feel comfortable. My brother played for Herb, so I'm like happy. I have and Urban was a really good coach. He'd always mess with me about stuff with my family that he remembers, like coming to my house. He remembers the color of our gate, talking to my parents. So I felt really comfortable with that coaching change. Go through training camp. I was having a really good camp. I hurt my shoulder probably on day 10. Missed like a week. Came back maybe 3 days before the first game. Played through a bunch of pain. Ended up still getting cut, making practice squad again. Going through the season, there's a lot of ups and downs. I think that was Trevor's rookie year as well. So he was also going through a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
I think that year we went 3-13. Urban got fired maybe week 14 or 13.
Yeah.
Again, so it's like, okay, another roller coaster, another coaching change. Doug Peterson comes in. I feel great about Doug Peterson because he played for my brother played for him in Kansas City.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, kind of feel better about it. I'm talking to my brother, pointers on a bunch of different things. Going through OTAs. OTAs was going really well. And then right after like the draft and rookie mini camp, it released me. Reason for release was they just said they wanted to go with some younger guys.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I go to Philly. Philly OTAs, I'm not gonna say they don't do too much, but it's definitely not as strenuous as where I was just at. They like to take care of their guys kind of a different way. It's a lot of fundamental work and it's not as taxing on the body, which I personally like, but you don't get as many plays to kind of compete, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So go through OTAs, and their OTAs was also shorter because they don't have a mandatory mini camp. So I was probably only there for maybe like 3 weeks or so. Finish OTAs, come home, train, get ready to go back for training camp, report for training camp. The day I report, right before the conditioning test, I get cut. Kelsey had COVID, and they had to sign extra offensive linemen to be able to get through practice the next day. And I just so happened to be the guy that had to get cut.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So.
Jeez.
Yeah. So got cut. Got to wait the 2 days for the waivers. End up going to New England. I go through all of New England training camp. Yeah, that was a different experience than everywhere else I had been as well. Didn't work out. Ended up getting released at the end of training camp. Came home, trained, waited. Didn't hear anything from anywhere. XFL called. The draft was in November. DC picked me up in the 9th round. Went and played. We did pretty good. We finished the season 9-1. Went to the championship game. Lost in the championship game. I think actually us going to the championship game might have hurt a lot of our opportunities NFL wise because rookie mini camps, which everybody was getting invited to, was the in-between week of the playoff game, and it was like our off week before the championship game. So we missed like the 2 weeks of rookie minicamp. So a lot of guys missed opportunities on like, pro shots because we had to play in the championship game, which kind of sucked, especially because we lost. So it makes it even worse. But again, season ends, training again, go to right when training camp started, like end of July. Denver brings me in for a workout. They don't sign me. Then a month later, like end of August, they bring me in for a workout again. They sign me. I'm there I get there on a Sunday, learn all the plays throughout the week. It was a joint practice. So we practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off Friday, played on a Saturday. I end up scoring in the game. Off Sunday, got cut Monday, was back home by Wednesday.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now home is Florida for you?
Oh, yeah, home is Florida for me, yeah.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah, so I was there for 9 days. Yeah.
So when all this occurs, right, getting cut, released, practice squad, on the team, getting hurt, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling about this? You're like, I worked so hard my entire life to play football. I played college at the highest level. I'm in the highest level of the NFL. Do I just continue to keep pushing myself? Like what goes through your mind when all this is going on?
It's definitely a lot. I think the hardest part is kind of trying to stay like mentally sane, because sometimes it's not even like your fault, and sometimes you're just the guy that has to go at that time for whatever reason. So I think just trying to keep a head on straight of just controlling what you control. When you get a call, when you get these plays, when you get the opportunity, try and make the most of it. Because at the end of the day, a lot of it you ain't even gonna be able to control. So I think the faster you get a grasp of like, letting things that aren't in your control kind of go away, and not really worrying about it, like, worrying if the quarterback's going to throw you the ball, worrying if you're going to get cut today, tomorrow. Like if you just let all that go, I think you allow yourself to play a lot freer, make a lot more plays, and be able to put yourself in a position to make the team or whatever the case may be. Because sometimes it doesn't even matter what you do, you won't make the team.
Yeah.
Because, money, guaranteed money, contract structures, like all that matters. And, they're looking at it from a business perspective. If I got $10 million guaranteed to somebody, I have to put that product on the field. Even if you're better than him, his money's already guaranteed. I have to give it to him. So I might as well keep him, because I'm not just going to let him leave and give him $10 million for free.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, when you think about it, because a lot of people just see that like, oh, that guy's out there, he's making so much money, he's really good. Well, he hasn't been productive all season. What the hell is going on here? And the guy in the practice squad is just as good, but he's not getting called up because he's the guy in the field's got to get paid.
They
don't have a choice because there's pressure on the coaches, there's pressure on the GM, pressure on the scouting team, all the coordinators.
Yeah, so I think the faster you can kind of grasp that as a young player, kind of coming into the league, I think the better off you'll be. Because trust me, I've had my fair share of, crazy thoughts of like, why am I doing this? This isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? And it happens to so many other people too. Like I remember all of us because during COVID, we had to have separate locker rooms.
Wow.
So practice squad, we were in a separate locker room, and we also couldn't go to meetings. We had to watch it virtually. So I remember like all of us on practice squad just sitting here, like having these deep conversations about like life, because obviously like, we're so interchangeable. There's no guaranteed money with us. No. One day we make somebody unhappy, we're out the door, next person in. It's just crazy to see. And, it kind of sucks to be in that position. But like, I guess I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. You learn so much. You meet a lot of great people, make a lot of great friends. I think it's worth it if you, have the, mindset to kind of stick it out. Again, and we're playing a game. It's not like, I'm sitting here and doing something crazy. We get to go out there, run around in grass with a football in our shoes, like, and make a lot of money doing it. So, you take advantage of the opportunity that you have while you have it, because one day you're not going to be able to cut as good as you were when you were 19, 20, 21, 22, and you're going to have to hang it up and go get a job. But I always tell people, like, the job isn't going to go anywhere. I mean, it might, but you know what I mean?
No, totally.
It's not going to go anywhere. Like, you can always kind of go get a job, but you'll never be able to go back and play football. So if it's something you truly love and want to do, you should continue to pursue it as long as you can while you can.
Well, now a lot of players too, I'm sure you've seen, are getting into media, whether it's in the collegiate
Mm-hmm.
level, the NFL level, their own podcast, because it's
Yep.
making them money, and it's a
Yep.
perfect thing afterwards. Because a lot of them are even doing it while they're in the NFL, and some
Yep.
people have their opinions about it. And I think now they've given so much leeway with players. Say, hey, if you want to go do a podcast, go right ahead, as long as it doesn't
Yeah.
affect your performance or play on the field. Go right
Yeah.
ahead. So
Yeah,
I think
100%.
it's a great way to do that as well. I mean, because at the end of the day, you want to see a lot of these guys succeed. Yeah, everyone's going to have their opinion about certain players. I mean, we just saw the thing about Cam Newton and Dak Prescott. Cam Newton was saying that Dak's a game manager. I mean, it's going to happen, but get into it, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
So what was your, I guess, experience with the Patriots on that short time? Because, they won so many championships, being around Coach Belichick and Brady and Gronk and Edelman and now Mac Jones. Like, what was your experience around with the Patriots?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference was probably like Bill Belichick knows how to win. He knows how it's supposed to be done. There's no questioning anything. He can put the formula right in front of you and tell you, like, this is what we have to do to win. I've been doing it way too long. I know how to do it. And I think seeing it in perspective of like how he does it really makes you understand why they've been so good for so long. The way they practice, the way they go about recovery, the way they lift. And a lot of people, if you come from a different team, you're not going to be used to it. It's kind of more of a college type structure where you're going to lift heavy, you're going to run after practice. You're going to do a lot of more so like, what's the word I'm looking for? As far as like recovery, it's going to be a lot more like mobility type recovery things rather than, just go get ice and stem and kind of just chill, relax. It's a lot of moving things that as a player that you used to do in college all the time, because I feel like a lot of colleges operate like that. But the moment you get to the league, depending on what team you go to, they take care of you and it's not as strenuous on the body. You can kind of lift as you please. Practice isn't as long, because they're trying to preserve the bodies, which also makes sense. Every team has their own philosophy. But, seeing the way that he does it, I think I admired a lot just because it's worked for so long, so, and like, it's hard to put out that product consistently at the National Football League for so long, that consistently year in and year out. And then I also would ask questions, like how was Tom when he was here? And everybody would tell me the same exact thing. Like when it came to football, he was super serious, laser focused, never let anybody get in the way. And if you were a person that was screwing off or whatever, you're out. Like he didn't have time for that. And I think that's the kind of like leader he was. And that's also why they were so successful, because Bill gave him the recipe on how to do it and he took it and ran with it. And he didn't take anything less from anybody else that was a part of the organization.
Do you think that the Patriots should move on from Bill Belichick this offseason, or do you think that they should continue to keep him? Because now he's old, Josh, and it's, he's old, is coming to an end. I respect Coach Belichick and everything he's done, but, sometimes fresh blood, fresh scenery. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think he just kind of has to get everybody else to buy in. Honestly, I think that's just what it is. I think the faster he can get, the right guys in the building to buy into his philosophy, the faster they'll be back where, we all know him to be. I think that's pretty much, I think it's it. I don't think it has anything to do with his age or anything like that. I think his philosophy works. I just think he just has to get the right guys in the building to, go out there and perform the way he wants.
Do you think they should run it back with Mac Jones for another year, or do you think they should draft a QB?
I like Mac personally. I think he's a really good quarterback. As far as his play goes, I think there's a lot of ups and downs that comes with quarterback.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of guys. Kendrick Bourne got hurt. Jacoby Myers left. I think even Devontae Parker's still hurt right now as well.
Yeah, Devontae Parker.
Tyquan Thornton started the season on IR.
Yeah.
Like those are 4 guys that were all his main guys last year that he didn't have. And I think it takes time to kind of gel with new receivers, especially new system with Bill O'Brien coming back, trying to learn everything and gel everybody at the same time. I think it's not easy. I think it takes time to kind of get that product where they want it.
If the Patriots were to bring back Josh McDaniels, let's say they were able to bring him back because everything that happened with him for the Raiders, he got fired. He had a great time in New England. We know Josh is a great offensive coordinator. He was with Brady all those years. Mac had a great rookie year. I think it was second in completion percentage all time, but I think it was like 66.7. He had 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So let's just say Mac Jones, they run it back with him. You bring back McDaniels. Do you think this could get back to the way they were before and you go draft a receiver for him? Or do you think let's kick the tires on Mac and let's go draft like Drake May or Caleb Williams?
I don't know. I mean, you could look at it either way, right? If you get McDaniels back, there's a possibility that it works again and, you guys are back where you guys want to be. Then there's a possibility you bring him back and you don't get the same product that you had when he was there. And then there's the other side of it where, you say, screw it, let's go get another quarterback. And, it comes in and it works with Bill O'Brien. And then there's the other side where it comes in and then this next rookie quarterback doesn't work. And then you're going to be in the same position of, well, what do we do next? Do we kick this guy to the curb too and go get another quarterback, or do we go get another coordinator? Like, it's such a revolving door kind of sometimes, I feel like, with, quarterbacks, coordinators, and trying to find the right guys and the right fit for the right systems.
No, that's a good point too. But the problem here, Josh, now with the NFL is almost every single quarterback out of these 32 teams are all mobile QBs. Mac Jones is a great pocket passer. He's great. He has great accuracy. He's got great vision. Yeah, he's had some ups and downs this season, but we've seen Mac in the 2-minute drill. We've seen what he's been able to do. But when you sit there, the biggest problem with Mac Jones is his mobility, his inability to move around in the pocket. That's the biggest problem that I have. I like Mac as a QB. I think he could be a potential starter in this league if the Patriots move on from him. But the problem now in the NFL is almost all these quarterbacks are mobile. And that's the way the NFL is now. You see all these mobile QBs. You got to be able to maneuver around the pocket. You got to be able to run for the stick. You got to be able to roll. It's not even just the simplest thing of just rolling out of the pocket, but just eluding the pressure, stepping up in the pocket when needed. If you don't have that QB now, it's very tough.
I think there's different avenues to that. I think it doesn't necessarily come down to quarterback's mobility. I think it's the type of offense you have to protect your quarterback if he isn't mobile or if he is mobile. For example, like receivers running routes at shorter depths if pressure's coming, having hots, having sights, and then making sure that everybody's on the same page with all that stuff. I think that's the hard part with like not having probably a mobile quarterback, is making sure everybody else is on the same page so we can protect him so he doesn't have to be mobile. And I think that's really all it boils down to. I think it's more so just a preparation thing and knowing that, this is our quarterback and these are the things we have to do to protect him, rather than kind of like, well, we just need to get a quarterback that can scramble so that we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
What I mean? Yeah.
But, like, I understand your point there, but just like the mix of just having like just that luxury when you have it.
Yeah.
Like, just
because I agree.
When you don't have that, you're like, he's very limited. Yeah, he can make the throws down the field, but when we need him to run for the 3rd and 2 and the receivers are covered, and let's say the tight end's bracketed, or let's say all the receivers are covered down the field, if he can run for that 3rd and 2, that's so crucial.
It is, but
that's the thing.
Tom Brady wasn't the most mobile, and I'm sure he scrambled for a lot of 3rd and 2s.
No, he was not the most mobile, but that also goes back to now with the NFL. There's not a lot of mobile QBs. I feel like the last of what we've seen, Brady, Breeze, Manning, they're all gone. Rodgers is mobile. We'll see when he comes back from that Achilles injury, but just that ability to just, if you can do it, man, and I'm sure all these guys can do it, but the ability to do it at a consistent level,
high level. No, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I think don't get me wrong, the league is definitely moving in that direction. It puts a lot more stress on defenses, having to account for the quarterback being able to run as well. So that technically limits you on offense. But I think there's ways around it. I think there's a way to kind of make it work. You might have to be more creative and have more attention to detail on a play-to-play basis on making it work than another team might not have to do. But I think it's it's whatever.
A few more things before we wrap up. What do you think of the NFL tush push? Do you think they should ban it, or do you think they should keep it?
I think they should keep it. I think it's not fair to Philly for it to get banned because they've figured out a way to do it better than everybody else. Because other teams have tried it and it hasn't worked. Now, if every team did it and it worked every single time, then that's like, all right, well, maybe we should ban it. But because nobody else can do it as successfully as Philly, that's not Philly's fault that they have the right teaching and fundamentals to have that played down the way they have it down. So I don't think it should get banned at all. I think they should let that ride, and until they can stop it, they should let it go.
Who are your top 5 receivers in the NFL?
Tyreek Hill, for sure. I'm still a Devontae Adams fan, even though he isn't having the year I'm sure he wants to have. I think CeeDee Lamb's playing really well this year. AJ Brown, and I'm gonna throw Mike Evans in there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's your 5 right there. Okay, that's fair.
My 5. I'm gonna throw Mike Evans in there for 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons.
Who are your top 5 QBs in the NFL?
Quarterbacks. I like Tua a lot. I train with him, so that's a biased answer. Tua, Lamar for sure. 2. Pat Mahomes, CJ Stroud. I like CJ a lot. And Dak. I'll give those 5.
No Joe Burrow?
Well, he's been hurt.
Oh, okay. You're going off of
I'm going off this year. I'm going off this year.
No Josh Allen? He leads the NFL in total touchdowns.
He probably also leads in picks, though.
Hey, but I said this about a month ago. You turn the ball over, like Brett Favre used to turn the ball over a ton, and look what so it's like, it's one of those things. It's going to happen. That's the style of play that Josh is. He's a gunslinger. I
know, but when you turn the ball over, you depreciate your chances of winning by, it's no more longer a 50-50 game. Now they have a 67% chance to win, and you have a 33% chance to win.
You'd rather have Tua over Josh Allen?
It depends what type of offense I'm running.
Okay, so you're going off of offense. I'm talking about just like if you were a GM.
Pure talent?
Yeah. Oh, Josh.
Josh Allen. Yeah, super talented. He's 6'7", 250, can run and throw the ball, can run a 4.6 and throw the ball 80 yards if you need him to. Like, he has all the intangibles of your prototypical quarterback if you were to build one. I think as far as like decision making goes, Tua is way more decisive, accurate, more in control of the game, I feel like, at times.
You're a big Tua guy.
I am a big Tua guy, yeah. I like Tua a lot.
All right, fair. All right, last one about the NFL. Do you think the hip drop tackle should be banned?
So, no. I don't think it should be banned. I think there needs to be more of an emphasis on teaching offensive players how to protect themselves when that type of tackle is happening. Because it's really hard for a defensive player to control themselves when they're trying to get you down. There's always you can't really control yourself as they're trying to tackle you. So they're going to do whatever they have to do to tackle you. And if you say that that's a penalty, then how else are they supposed to tackle you when they're in this only position where they just have to fall to try to bring you down, I think you kind of probably find a way to implement a way to teach offensive players, when you start to feel that's your time to dive forward and just fall, or rather than trying to fight for extra 2-3 yards. I think there should probably just be a bigger emphasis on teaching the offensive players on how to protect themselves, because it's going to be impossible. I think if you put that type of penalty in the game, you might as well make it flag football,
right?
Because they can barely already hit you when you're trying to catch the ball or run the ball. There's always unnecessary roughness for any type of hit. Players getting fined left and right for any big hit that happens. And then if you add the hip drop tackle, is the only tackle that you could make without possibly getting the penalty. So if you take that out, what are they supposed to do?
At this point, I don't know, because now you're going to teach these guys. You got to tackle completely differently. You've been playing football your entire life, and now all of a sudden, because of an injury, you're going to teach these guys, okay, no, you can't do that anymore. Now it's it doesn't make any sense. And the next point about that too is all these, they've been playing football their entire life. We're going to have to take this away from them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's I thought the objective was to bring the guy down as best as you can. It's the goal is to tackle the guy, right?
Yep. And as an offensive player, is to try and not get tackled. So
right.
When you're in a position where you're about to get tackled, you need to protect yourself and, try and find a way to not get hurt and not lose the ball. Those are your two things that I feel like you focus on while you're getting tackled. That's why you see a lot of players, like Tyreek Hill does it so often. Anytime he's surrounded by a bunch of guys, he just dives straight to the floor. He's protecting himself. He got his catch, got his yards. Let me protect myself. Got my catch, got my yards. Let me protect myself. And then you got guys like Josh Jacobs who are supposed to be physical running backs, and they're trying to lower their shoulder and hit people, and he's getting fined for hitting people.
Yeah.
Like what? That's just it doesn't make sense. I think it's kind of ruining the game in the sense of like the loss of physicality. Like we all signed up to play a violent sport.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be like this. So we have to let it be the way it was supposed to be played, because keep changing it is just going to end up turning into flag football Pro Bowl games.
Yeah, right. Lawrence Taylor actually said on the Tom Brady Let's Go podcast last week, he said, I wouldn't even survive in today's NFL because of
Yeah.
how many flags and how many things. He goes, trucking. He goes, what's trucking? He goes, I used to go out there to kill people. Like he would have not survived in today's NFL. And it sucks because it's going that way every time. There's always going to be a flag, or there's going to be some sort of implication.
Mm-hmm.
If you get rid of this hip drop tackle, what are you going to get rid of next?
Yeah.
I'm all for player safety, but you can't take away the aspect of the game that people love to watch. I mean, because most people, like you said, NFL players make a ton of money. Not all of them do. They have very short stints, some of them, and the average shelf life is 1 to 2 years. And a lot of these fans, Josh, throughout the week, work their ass off throughout the week, 9 to 5, blue collar job, whatever.
Yep.
And on Sunday, they just want to sit on their couch and drink beer and watch football and watch the game. That it's like, and you're going to take away that from people. It's like taking away rights.
No, I agree.
You know how passionate fans are.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard, like I think every football player is somewhat kind of, this is probably bad to say, and I'm sorry for saying this, but we're kind of all kind of like messed up in the head in the sense of like, you got to have something in your head that like, kind of makes you want to do this. Cause when you look at it, it's not the most ideal thing for your body. It's not fun when you're getting hit. It's not fun when you're training. Like there's a lot of stuff that you put into it that you probably have to be a little crazy to do. Yeah. And at some point, if you're that crazy to do all of this stuff, why make the game different when I've already agreed to do all this other crazy stuff so that I can be at the peak level of performance that I want to be at to play the game?
Because it just feels like there's so many people that have their hands in the cookie jar. It's like, let these guys play the game that they love. If they are, like you said, you guys are the ones that go out there, you signed up to do it. This is what you love. Go do it. Like I played hockey my whole entire life, and now I play men's league, and I still want to go out there and bust the guy up. Heck yeah, that's what you go out there for. I mean, you have pads, whatever, but that's the point of the game, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's like you're taking away the aspects.
I agree.
So, but anyways, before we do wrap up, we got to talk a little bit about hot sauce ham. So what's that all about? Okay,
so my brother's nickname is Hot Light. When he was in college, he would always tweet the Krispy Kreme Hot Light when it came on in Gainesville off 13.
Yeah.
So he would always tweet it every time the Hot Light came on. And actually, when he got into the league, he ended up getting a deal from him, a Krispy Kreme deal. So when I was coming out, Nick Della Torre is the guy who did it. Nick Della Torre.
Yeah.
I forget who he worked for. I think it was Rivals, maybe. But I was at the Under Armour All-American game, and we were literally sitting there brainstorming, like, all right, your brother's Hot Light, what's yours going to be? And then we were all like, well, what do you like to eat? And I was like, I eat a lot of chicken wings. They were like, hot wing Hammond? And I was like, nah, I don't really eat hot wings. And they were like, well, if you ate them plain, what would you eat it with? And I was like, I normally eat it with hot sauce and ranch. And it was like hot sauce ham. Like hot sauce ham.
That's
so
catchy.
Kind of took it and ran with it. And I even have a keychain with a bottle of hot sauce on it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Keep it with me at all times.
Is it spicy?
No, it's Tabasco. It's not too bad.
Oh, okay. Have you tried the hot sauce from Hot Ones?
I have not.
Oh, are you a hot sauce guy or no?
I'm like a flavor hot sauce guy. I don't want like crazy burn.
Okay.
Like my favorite hot sauce is like Crystal, like Louisiana, those type hot sauces.
All right, what was your favorite food spot in Gainesville?
Ooh, Peach Valley.
Oh the breakfast spot, so good.
Yeah, they actually heard. I just went back. Apparently, it got like they caught fire or something, and it like burned, and they had to close. Yeah.
Oh,
they've been closed for a couple months now. There was like a big fire that broke out sometime in the summer, and they had to close completely. And apparently, they're supposed to be trying to get a new location, but they haven't gotten one yet. But Peach Valley, I went there every Sunday after games.
Yeah, that was I went there a couple times. That place was really good. Dang, man, they closed down. Wow.
Peach Valley, apple fritters. I need it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was a good one though. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that does it for us with everything. But before we do wrap up officially, we have to give you 5 questions, always for my guests. So my first
Okay.
question for you: what motivates you?
My parents, I think they sacrificed a lot for me. And they kind of motivate me to try to go out there and do the best I can to try to repay them back.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself being successful. At what may vary. I could still be playing football. I could be a successful businessman doing something else, but I know I won't stop until it's going the way I want it to go. So,
If you didn't play football, what other sport would you have played?
track. My dad's a track coach. I've been running track since I was 9 years old. So, I would have either went the track route. I probably would have went the track route for sure because I'm not tall enough for basketball.
What was your favorite event?
I ran the 400.
Okay. Oh, I did the 400. You probably would have smoked me.
Yeah, I
I
was
had
like
we had.
go ahead.
What'd you say? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was like a sub 49 guy before I stopped running in the 10th grade.
Damn, I was like 55, 56.
Yeesh.
So
Yeah,
I
that
wasn't,
was with
but
you.
yeah, you would have smoked me.
Yeah.
But I got you on ice though. I play
Yeah, you
hockey,
probably
so
did.
I got you on
Yeah,
ice.
you definitely got. I can skate, but not ice skate. I like roller skate on
Oh,
4 wheel.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Where is one place that you would like to visit that you haven't been to?
Dubai.
Who was one person you would like to meet, dead or alive?
Person I would like to meet, dead or alive. Bill Gates.
Interesting. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Last part here. You've played Madden, right?
Yes, I'm not really a Madden guy, but
Okay, so just knowing about Madden and just the playbook and the play calls,
Mhm.
do you resonate that with the NFL? Like, because I mean, like football sometimes can just be broken down into very simple terms, right? Like a curl
Yeah.
route, a drag route, a shallow cross, a mesh,
Yeah.
cover two. Like, what do you think about all that when guys say, "Oh, well, I learned," like, because some NFL players say, "Well, Madden helps me with my game." Like, what do you think of that?
I think anybody that says Madden helps them with their game is probably trolling for sure. But the plays that are on Madden are real plays that
Right.
like teams actually run.
Yes.
I don't think that playing it is going to correlate to real life because it looks completely different. In Madden, they kind of just stand there in the spots.
Very true.
In real life, they stand in spots and then they run to completely different ways that they'll show one thing, do another. And I think it's different seeing it in person because one, if you're a receiver, right, you only can see half of the field.
Yeah.
That's to where Madden, you see the whole screen. So,
Yeah.
like what's going on the whole field, rather than you just see your corner, your safety, and that one little nickel that's inside of you if you're one side of the field.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think anybody could definitely learn from Madden. I think like a casual person that's kind of wanting to get more football knowledge of like type of
Yeah.
plays and type of coverages, I think you could learn probably a lot from Madden, just on different concepts. Now the what we call it and stuff, that's a whole nother ball game too, because there's a lot of crazy calls in the league.
Do you remember, Clifford Taylor?
Yep.
Yeah, Cliff was on here last year, and he said he's like the names that you would see on the call sheets and on the quarterback's arm. I'm like, he's like,
Yeah.
you don't even want to know. He's
Yeah.
like,
It's
you think it's
wild.
that simple? He's like, it's
Yeah.
not.
No, it's definitely a
So
lot. Like it's so much stuff. It's a lot.
it's just one of
It's
those
a lot.
things where you just go, oh, what's a simple post route? Yeah, maybe you may think that, but the term that they use or however you guys
Yeah.
go about it, because
Yeah.
so
And then he might not have even had a post route. That's be the crazy part. He might have actually had, a dig or a
yep.
curl, but one specific look that he gets, the route instantly changes to the post route. It's like little stuff.
What's your favorite route to run as a receiver?
I guess it depends where I'm at. If I'm outside, I would probably say like a 15-yard stop, come back down your stem. Some
Like
people, they call it
like
like hinge
like
routes.
like a comeback route?
Kind of like a comeback, but you, instead of coming back towards the sideline, you literally come right back down the same line you just ran.
Okay, so more or less kind of a 15-yard curl route then?
Kind of like a curl, but you're not going towards the quarterback either. You literally coming
Okay.
straight back down.
I've
And
seen AJ Brown run that route.
AJ runs them a lot. They run
He
it in
runs
Philly.
those a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And normally the quarterback throws him outside to the sideline
Yeah.
to get away from the corner. Yeah, they run that a lot in Philly. But
So what would you call it instead of a curl, like instead of like a curl route, what would you call it?
they normally call them hinges
Okay.
because it kind of opens out like a hinge, and you can because you're gonna come back, but you're gonna go back the ball is gonna bring you to the sideline, so there's no like real angle. So it's
Okay.
called the hinge because there's no really real angle on coming out, but you're gonna come back down your stem, and then the ball is gonna bring you anywhere out, like opening up a hinge.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
so they're called hinge routes. Some people call them different things. Some people call them nine. Like some people run them at 9 yards, and they're called nine stops.
Okay.
Um, I've been places where it's called 10 stops, lightnings. There's a bunch of different names for them.
So before we like officially wrap up here, is there anything that you would like to get off your chest for people just sitting at home, like motivating people, like, hey, go out and do this, or like just something you've been feeling lately and you're just like, man, I just want to get this off my chest?
No, I think I'm good. I feel like I said everything I probably wanted to say.
Yeah, I think so too. So, well, Josh, it was a pleasure to have you on. I hope I didn't keep you too long. It was great to
No,
hear
you're good.
about your story about, time in the NFL, time with the XFL DC Defenders, the Gators, and what, college football is like, the landscape of the NIL now. It was just great to have you on. We heard a little bit about Hot Sauce Ham. That was a lot of
Yeah,
fun too.
yeah,
So we kind of heard your take about Madden and how you think it's
yeah,
not exactly
yeah,
like football, but it was great to
yeah.
have you on, and I wish you nothing but the best in your career. And I'm hoping to see you back playing pro football next year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. And make sure to plug your socials before we wrap up.
Okay, Instagram, Twitter at J_Hammond10. Those are the two main ones I use, so find me there.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. This was episode 89. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, the Inquisitive Mamba podcast, Apple Podcast, the Inquisitive Mamba podcast, YouTube, the Inquisitive Mamba, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.